Saudi Arabia is a very opaque market. What we do really is bring some light to the market, provide a bit of transparency to what's going on, enable you to connect the dots in a very otherwise opaque location. If there's one thing that really helps in Saudi Arabia in terms of a secret to success, it's presence. We have a phrase, commit, don't commute. If you can get in and be in Saudi, that's when you can really begin to break Saudi. Saudis are very keen on people being accessible, and if you're trying to prosecute the market from the UK or USA or even from UAE, that can be a bit of a blocker. So the biggest thing is getting into the market, because that's how you build relationships. Partnering is pretty much as key in Saudi. Finding the right partners enables you to access the right clients. It gives you the client intimacy that allows you to win the bids or any tender that you're going for. So partnering is key. Those guys know their clients. They often have resources that you can use to enable you to sell more effectively. So existing sales teams in each of the 3 regional centres. So providing you do it in the right way, and that's the key thing, partnering is the way to do Saudi. So it's really 2 things that we do on that front, which is number 1, to research and find the right partners for you. And then number 2, once you're talking to the right partners, make sure you're talking to them in the right way. So often effective and ineffective Saudi partners will try and approach you with various exclusivities, which is normally not appropriate in Saudi. They're very keen to sign you exclusively, but actually they might only have one area of influence. And what you need is exclusivity into just that area of influence, because you need another Saudi partner for the other silo that you're working into. So you build up what we call a partner matrix. So that good advice wrapped around the right partners is what enables our clients to get going more quickly in Kingdom. I suppose the 2 problem phrases I hear are, how do I get a Saudi commercial registration? Generally speaking, that question is not justified with why somebody needs a commercial registration. They just think they need one. And in actual fact, if you delve in, you find there are many ways to get going before you go down that particularly arduous route. So that's bugbear number 1. Bugbear number 2 would be, I've met a Saudi prince, he's told me he can bring me Saudi, and I've signed exclusively with him. The fact is there's 12,000 princes in Saudi, so unless you've met just the right prince for you, and there are some out there, the likelihood is you haven't met that right one, at least not on your first visit. There's 2 types of companies normally in Saudi. The classic Saudi agent, who might take a percentage of whatever business you win, is one end of the spectrum. The other end of the spectrum is your Regis managed office, and we're slap bang in the middle of that. So we don't just give you the keys and tell you to carry on. We give you the keys and give you some good advice, but we don't take the 10% or whatever percentage it is that your Saudi agent will take either, and then sit back and wait for the money to roll in. So we're incentivized to help our companies get in. Once they're in, they then buy further services from us. We really have 2 streams of clients that come to us. Some clients are relatively new or completely new to Saudi, and we tend to put them down our market entry roadmap. And that starts with a simple familiarity paper, which tells them a little bit about their sector in Saudi, general business approaches in Saudi. And so that's a very straightforward, small paper. From there, people will either do further research about their particular field, particularly if they're a niche provider, or they might dive straight in, and we have 2 products for either approach. The diving straight in is what we call a hosted market visit, which is where we put the company in front of a number of key partners or Saudi clients. So we spend some time researching where they should be talking, and then bring them in and put them in front of those guys. That's a hosted market visit. The other approach is a little bit more in-depth research about justification for exactly what the market volume is for their kind of product, what are the typical approaches for their kind of product or service in Saudi, how to set up the business in Saudi, and that's our route to market strategy product. Generally speaking, when a client has the requirement for their services in Kingdom, we end up doing all 3 of those products in one order or another. We built a number of facilities in Saudi, so we have accommodation blocks in Jeddah, in Riyadh, we have office blocks, and we have a number of bolt-on services to go with those, so we're now providing an end-to-end solution. I think we're in such great demand, our biggest problem is capacity, and growing capacity of those services requires investment. So we'll continue to grow, and I think our next step is probably working with some of the international trade bodies. And we're doing that for a lot of the British trade bodies already. We recently started to work for Austrian trade, Australia, New Zealand, and various other international trade bodies. I think that's probably our next stepping stone. My motivation is it's all about the meeting of worlds. So if we can be a small part of bringing the Western world closer to the Eastern world, at least in Saudi Arabia, that can only be a good thing, especially in these tumultuous times. Bringing people closer together is really, at the end of the day, what we do, and trade and industry is a great way to do that.